Those who didn't get a chance to actually speak about their home education groups or co-op groups that they do, to have a chance. So can I get Classical Conversations first? Can you explain what you're doing for home education and everything about the work that Classical Conversations is doing when it comes to home education?
So Classical Conversations is primarily, it's an American curriculum. It was founded in 1997, so it's been going on a long time, and it's based off the classical model. I started using CC in Scotland in 2020 on my own, with just my son, because there was no communities. And from there, we have since grown to, we have 2 foundations classes in Glasgow. We have an essentials class, which is for the kind of primary 5 to primary 7. And this year we also have 2 challenge levels. We have the equivalent of S1 and the equivalent of S4. I'm trying to work that out there. In addition to that, one of the families who used to be with us in Glasgow started a community in West Lothian. So there's a CC community with foundations and essentials in West Lothian. And last year also helped start a community in Dundee. So in Dundee we have foundations, essentials, and we also have challenge in Dundee, which is the kind of S1 level.
Great, thank you. Andrea, do you want to tell us about chess? Yeah.
So Chess is a UK-based organisation and a charity that helps to provide support to Christian home educators. And I came across them, I think, about 1.5 years or 2 years ago. And we have resources in the back hall. There's some leaflets and some little magazines just to encourage and kind of give different aspects about the home education world. There's lots of different strategies or approaches to home education, and sometimes when you're starting off on the journey of home education, it can be a bit of a kind of, my goodness, what what pathway to choose. There's things like eclectic or classical, Charlotte Mason, unschooling. So there's so many different varieties of home education, which is what we call it in Scotland, because particularly it doesn't have to look like school. Often people have a certain idea of how it should be, but actually it could be completely different to that. So feel free to chat to anybody that's got experience, probably got quite different experiences as well. And Chess is a really good organisation for finding out not what's just going on in Scotland, but across the UK and even further afield. It's actually been an organisation that's put me in touch with an occupational therapist who's based in Jersey, who's a Christian, and I'm working through a programme that she has devised with my children at the moment. So it's really good for that kind of like linking with people and just encouraging and encouragement as well. And they often have a conference and a yearly holiday as well, just to meet with others. Home education is, well, for a lot of people, hard work. Our society has different, pressures on us. There's an expectation, certainly when I was at school, that I would get a good education, that I would go and get a job and a career, and that I wouldn't be at home with my children all the time. And society still has that pressure, even when you are at home all the time with your children. And sometimes the day-to-day can get a bit overwhelming, in all honesty, when you've got the washing and the laundry and everything else to keep on top of, as well as the educational aspect. So yeah, it's just, if you're interested in finding out more about chess as an encouragement, if you're thinking about home educating or already, then feel free to kind of come and chat to us in the resources room as well.
Great. So you can see we have such a variety of different things here. Obviously the schools, the home education groups. We also have a new one that started, the Charlotte Mason group that started in Scotland as well. But they couldn't be here today. They were supposed to be here, but there were some transport issues, so they couldn't make it. But then there's also a new group that started. Christy, you want to explain about you guys, what you'll do and everything, and we'll get some slides up as well.
Just the better.
Yeah, here's yeah.
Right. So is this clicker thing?
He will do it. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay. So let me tell you my bona fides. So we've home educated 4 kids. They've never been to school. My wife's education and specialty was as an early years specialist. I've been teaching in universities for 13 years, conducting research in them for 20. We initially, our plan here today was kind of a twofer, so we're also here representing chess. The other thing that we are here to do was to promote our new little family business that we're trying to start up. And it's got two kind of educational themes connected with it. So the one that's probably most relevant to all of you is we're interested in supporting home educators, Christian schools, these sorts of organisations, particularly when it comes to things like arts award qualifications. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but these are formal qualifications that kids can study for, and they have like 5 or 6 levels that are appropriate for age ranges from like primary school up to kind of older teens. So that's mostly my wife's side of things. My side is more, I'm going to be doing kind of university level stuff, and I can do all sorts of stuff in that area. My background is in cognitive psychology. I've been teaching research methods and statistics and research ethics and these sorts of things in a university for almost 10 years now. But I'm going to be leaving the academic world shortly and just be focusing on what we're doing. So that is Bezalel Education for you.
So you guys can find out more about them as well. They have a stand also and a few resources as well. I wanted Ewan to just share a little something that has happened to him when he was in school. Maybe some of you might know, if you're from Aberdeen and this area, Aberdeenshire and stuff, on John Campbell. No, what?
So, some of you
name?
might be familiar with his name, John Naples Campbell.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm getting confused because there's so many John Nobles and John William and stuff today, so I'm getting all confused with all these Johns. So Ewan, if you can just tell us a little story there.
So, Mr. Campbell has been one of Scotland's leading LGBTQ educators, and what ended up happening was I was educated in a pretty small country secondary school, and he took up a drama teaching role. Big surprise there, but he took up a drama teaching role at our school, and it was like nothing we had seen before. It was genuinely shocking what ended up happening. So it started off quite simple. It started with, I think, like an LGBT club, like a after-school club or a lunchtime club where the LGBT kids could go and see him. But then what I started to notice was a lot of kids were doing very, strange things, unorthodox things. Say they were starting to dye their hair. They were starting to identify as like bisexual and pansexual and asexual and various different kind of alphabet soup options there. And that was one of the first things. You started to see a real dramatic rise in this. And what ended up happening is COVID came around. I was nearing the end of my school years, and I ended up leaving pretty much right after that. But what happened over COVID is he kind of got a grasp over the school. He put up a massive, like 40-foot pride flag hanging from the balcony of the auditorium. So every time you went in for, say, a school assembly, you were essentially praising the big 40-foot pride flag. This is just crazy stuff. There were flags up all over the school. Teachers were putting up transgender stickers and flags in their classrooms to try and kind of encourage it and kind of get it going. Another thing he did was he started. This is after I left and my younger sisters were there. He started a pride festival within the school for secondary age children. And so it was like a forced Pride Day. So in June, they had them all dragged out to the field. You had to wear your Pride colours. And if you didn't do it, they put you in a detention. Although they didn't call it a detention. They said it was an alternative option. But it was essentially a detention. They put you in a windowless room for the rest of the day if you refused to go along with it.
And this teacher has been nominated for awards for various things here in Scotland. And we have done a little pushback with the Scottish Family Party and stuff on him, and we are the ones that are getting persecuted. We are the ones that are getting criticized because we're trying to do a little pushback against what he's teaching in the school, and he's still getting promoted and we're getting silenced. So that's like our normal lives, basically, but we keep pushing back. We will not allow it to. We'll try our best not to allow it to happen and continue from now. But yeah, so these things that are happening in the schools, and it's quite a hard thing, and this is why we are here today and why we need Christ-centered education. Just a question, somebody can answer this. So a few people have been saying this, maybe it came up in the questions as well. Why home education? Why should we those who are parents and stuff actually think of home education when there's, and some parents can't just do it? What do you say to a parent that says that they can't do it? Who would like to answer that?
Cool. I've been around the block enough times in the Christian home education scene to know that home education is difficult, but it's possible in most but not all circumstances. And I don't want to be unrealistic about that. Some home educators can be very dogmatic about this. Everyone can and should home educate. No, not everyone can, not everyone should. I would say it's fairly unusual, but in kind of 20 years around the home education scene, we have come across some families who should not be home educating. And there should be alternative provision there. And I suspect, I think it was you were talking about the role of the state, the role of the church, the role of the family. And yeah, education absolutely is the responsibility of parents. For those who cannot or should not home educate, I think the church probably has a role in some kind of educational provision. But generally speaking, for most families, if it is possible to home educate, it's the whole bring a child up in the way they should go and they will not depart from it. This is very important. And we've entered an age in which there is a profound lack of, for want of a better term, emotional continence, where people, they lack restraint. Once upon a time, if you had a kind of profound desire to gain access to children for political and ideological reasons, you would be ashamed to admit that. And yet the schools now have many people who are very open about the fact that they did not go into schools in order to educate and to inform and to enrich and to enlighten, but rather they wish to gain access to other people's children in order to propagate a particular ideology. I would like to be able to give positive reasons for home education rather than negative ones where I'm just kind of criticizing what the state is doing. But home education allows you to build a Christian family unit. That is that you can be around one another, you can be in one another's lives, and you can put education and Jesus at the center of that.
Yeah. What I have noticed about home education, I remember when I was a kid, I was like, why? Why would you ever think of doing something like that? But then being involved in this and seeing what God's called me to do, I have learned so much, and it's amazing. Like, I got invited to the Falkirk co-op group, and with Arise and the others and everything, and there was about 70 kids there, and they have the best relationships and the joy in them, the friends they have. It was just amazing to speak to these kids, and I just loved every bit of it. So it is good. If you can do it, do it. And there's obviously organizations here that can give you advice, that can help you, even if you're working from home and stuff. And obviously you got kids, and you obviously online stuff. There's so many different things you can do. So there's always a way. There's always a way. You got our schools and you got the home education groups. So yeah, I just want to say thank you to all of you for what you're doing. I know it's a sacrifice. I've heard the testimonies. Some of them go through so much to be able to do what they're doing. And some of them have so many kids and financially not doing well, but they're still doing it and they're still pushing. And this is why we need each other and we need the church to support these initiatives. So thank you to all that are home educating and doing such a great job. God bless you.